My name is Melissa St.Pierre, and I'm a current student at Full Sail University. This is my Year 2 event presentation for the Meet Your Wolverines fan event. I want to start by asking you all to think of the first team that comes to your mind when you hear University of Michigan athletics. It's probably football or men's basketball, right? With the Meet Your Wolverines fan event, we're hoping to change that. We want the U of M volleyball team to be one of the first teams that pops into your mind. The Meet Your Wolverines fan event is a chance for the U of M volleyball team to connect with their fans and to build that relationship with the residents of the state of Michigan. Last year, we held a sit-down lunch for the team and their fans and held a silent auction and a raffle that raised money for the Women's Sports Foundation. Through the raffle and silent auctions, we raised $9,000 for the WSF. I think the plan we have for Year 2 event will allow us to raise even more money for the foundation. But more importantly, we have the opportunity to help the volleyball team raise their popularity and allow them a chance to rival the popularity of the school's other sports, such as football and basketball. Increasing the team's presence on social media will not only increase the team's popularity in the state of Michigan, but could also spread nationwide. The key factors for this event are using the same venue as last year, the Cliff Keen Arena, which will be free to use of us, the relationships and partnerships made between the team and the event sponsors, and the familiarity and relationship between the U of M volleyball team and the Women's Sports Foundation. The main objectives of this event are to raise money for the Women's Sports Foundation, increase social media followers for the volleyball team, and to make sure that the fans, sponsors, vendors, and the university had an overall positive experience in relation to the event. Last year's event had goals based on selling tickets to the event and to the upcoming games for that season, as well as gaining more followers on Twitter through #popularity. This year's event, we have decided to focus a little less on the money that the team will make from this event and more on the fans' experience and building long-lasting relationships with those fans and with the sponsors and the Women's Sports Foundation. With that being said, the goal for this event are to increase the number of followers on Twitter and Instagram, likes and Facebooks by 10% by the end of the event, to raise at least $12,000 for the Women's Sports Foundation, and to receive a score between 3 and 5 on at least 75% of the return post-event surveys from the fans that attended, the sponsors, the WSF, the vendors, the university, and the volunteers. While we plan on capitalizing on many of the same resources that we used during the Year 1 event, we have identified some changes that will be implemented in order to find success during this event. Those changes include focusing on merchandise sales. While we sold merchandise during the Year 1 event, we didn't plan much on having our revenue coming in from that. This year, we will place more emphasis on actively trying to sell merchandise in order to increase the event revenue. During this event, we would like to have a representative from the Women's Sports Foundation attend the event. The representative will interact with fans and be able to explain what their foundation does and what the foundation will be able to do with the donations they get from this event. Having the representative explain those types of things to the fan can increase the likeliness that they will buy more raffle tickets and spend more money on the silent auctions, increasing the amount we are able to donate to the charity at the end of the event. We have decreased the amount of physical resources that we will need for the Year 2 event by changing the layout of the event. Since we are not doing a sit-down lunch during the event, we won't have to hire food vendors and we will need fewer tables and chairs. Capitalizing more on the brand identity and credibility of the University of Michigan will be an important resource for us to use this year. We will use the team's coach, Mark Rosen, and the selected team captains for that season to record a radio advertisement that will be aired on local radio stations. We don't foresee any new stakeholders for this event, so we will continue to build the relationships that we have and keep working on building the brand reputation of the Michigan volleyball team. We want to capture the same feel as the Year 1 event while trying to improve the interactions between the fans and the team. The biggest difference in the timeline of when activities need to be done is in regard to sponsors. During the first year event, we didn't do very much sponsor research, and we wanted to get as many sponsors as possible. This year, we'll spend more time in researching possible sponsors and developing packages that are more tailored to those that we select to reach out to. We know now that we want to target sponsors that are family-oriented and that have mission statements and ideals that match those of the University of Michigan. We are expecting the total expenses to decrease this year, while the income and donation amounts will increase. One major change we are making, which will decrease the total expenses, is the amount we are spending on food vendors and on tables and chairs. While we can't completely eliminate renting tables and chairs because we will need them for displaying the auction items and for admissions tables, we are no longer having to rent enough tables to seat 600 people. We are also including the amount of revenue that we will get from the merchandise sales, which we didn't include in the year one budget. We're focusing a decrease of about $11,000 in the amount spent on expenses and an increase of $7,000 in revenue. If all goes according to plan, we expect to make a revenue of $23,000 after the year 2 event is complete. This is also after we donate $12,000 to the Women's Sports Foundation. The high-level risk we are preparing for are a lack of sponsorship interests, medical emergencies, and violence. The low-level risk we have identified are arena availability, lack of volunteer interest, and running low on food and drinks during the event. We plan on combating the lack of sponsorship interest by not only explaining that the university has the same values as their companies, which will help them increase their brand credibility, but we will also explain how successful the Year 1 event was and show what the sponsors got out of the Year 1 event. We will have people on duty that are able to handle medical emergencies, and will also hire security guards that are able to control the crowd to make sure that violence does not become an issue. The arena availability can be fixed by finding a date that will work for the school and for the volleyball team. Rehiring volunteers from Year 1 will be a good option to fight the lack of interest in volunteers, and making sure that we buy extra food and drinks will make sure that we don't run out during the event. Thank you for taking the time to view this presentation, and I hope that we are able to make this event even more successful than the Year 1 Meet Your Wolverines fan event. I'll now open the floor to answer questions that you may have.